Well, unlike the last two episodes where I showed off like 10 or more N64 games, this time we've only got two, both of which I actually got this year. So yeah, some of the few 2018 purchases that you'll see in this video. Anyways, first up is FIFA Soccer 64. And as you can see, it's got a little Rogers Video sticker on it. That's kind of interesting, you know. I mean, Rogers Video did not last fucking long at all. I mean, you know, considering, you know, the time and place Blockbuster died, and, you know, the fact that this country just doesn't have much of a big marketplace, really, because of its low population, it's kind of no surprise why Rogers Video died as quickly as it did. But enough about, you know, failed businesses. Let's talk about the game. This was the first game that EA ever put out on the N64. It was also the 20th game ever released on the Nintendo 64. And, you know, I guess it was kind of a big deal in some regard, you know, because it's like, hey, soccer fans finally got, you know, finally got their first soccer game on the N64, and finally something to, you know, really, like, kind of show off what the N64 could do in terms of sports games, because, you know, hey, there's a market for them, and I guess, you know, this was kind of a big deal, like I said. The game itself is, well, it's not a very good game in all honesty. Graphically, even for N64 standards, it's very weak. And, you know, the controls in this game are just delayed overall. And, you know, it really just does feel like the first generation sort of half-assed effort that it is. Kind of like Madden 64, though even Madden 64 is probably better. But hey, just the name alone is great, because like Madden 64, FIFA Soccer 64. You know, obviously 64 because of N64, but, you know, make the obvious joke, you know, oh, did this come out in 1963? But, yeah, that's all I have to say about this. Though, the other FIFA games, 98 and, you know, 99, are better on the N64. And, here we have Madden 2001. It's in a blue cartridge, and, you know, hey, blue cartridge games are cool, and, you know, well, I now just am missing The World Is Not Enough and WCW Backstage Assault, and I'll have all 6 blue N64 games. As for this game, well, it's, again, pretty cool that 2001 got a release on the N64, considering, you know, other EA Sports games didn't always get a 2000, and certainly did not get a 2001. Because I guess Madden just sold that well on the N64, or just, you know, Madden sells that well in general. And, you know, graphically it looks pretty nice, and it's a cool thing to own and a cool thing to see on the console, even though I don't even really know how to play football. You know, I don't know what the hell football plays are and all that. I don't know what the hell all that's about, other than, you know, hey, just get a touchdown and don't get tackled. How about a Super Nintendo game, another 2018 purchase. This is Tommy Moe's Winter Extreme Skiing and Snowboarding. This is like one of 2 snowboarding games on the Super Nintendo. The other one was a Japan-only one on the Super Famicom. I don't remember the name of it. The interesting thing about this game is that this game is also kind of actually on the Atari Jaguar, because on the Jaguar there's a game called Val d'Isère, or Val d'Isère, I don't know how that guy's name is pronounced, Val d'Isère, whatever, skiing and snowboarding. And if you look at that game and this game, they're almost identical. It's just, you know, the Jaguar game looks slightly, like, richer, I guess, in colors. So yeah, if you've played that, you've most likely played this. As for the game itself, well, it's, you know, again, one of 2 snowboarding games on the console, and you don't really get a downhill action because there's a lot of, you know, slopes going up and down, so it's almost kind of like, you know, a motocross game in that sense. It's kind of okay of a game, you know, for the price, you know, can't do you much harm. I don't think there's much of any difference between skiing and snowboarding, like the name would imply. But, you know, I played a decent amount of it, and, I don't know if I have any real motivation to go back to it, but, you know, whatever, it's fun to have. I need to play more of Michael Andretti's Indie Car Challenge, you know, and hey, look, it's another thing to add to the line of Super Nintendo games you see in these videos. Now then, how about, this? This is Polaris Snowcross on Game Boy Color. Now this is a game I've been after for a couple months because, Pete Dorr, if you know who he is, which I mention him a lot in these videos, so you probably know. But on his Twitch stream, it's almost kind of like a recurring theme to bring up Polaris Snowcross, because whenever we're doing, say, like eBay game hunting, and he looks up like a racing game, whether or not the racing game looks good or bad, he'll almost always add the music from this game, because that's the thing that makes this game stick out so much, is the music. The music in this game is insane. It's very energetic, and just listen it for yourself. You'll see how like energetic and awesome the music can be. It's crazy. A lot of Game Boy Color music seems to really have that sort of energetic, almost like Commodore 64 or Amiga sort of, chiptune deal, like games like this or Project S11 and Doki Doki Sasete in some regards. But the game itself is your standard, top-down racer. It's not bad, I guess emulates the feel of Polaris Snowcross mobiles as much as you can for, an 8-bit handheld. It's also one of those Rumble cartridges, so yay, even though I would have preferred this just to be a standard-shaped cartridge. But it was really cool just to get it for that regard, because of all the times Pete Dorr mentioned this in Twitch streams and whatnot, and, hey, it's an alright game. And, but the music, though. Damn the music. Let's see, what else? Here was, another Christmas gift and whatnot, another Christmas gift, F1 Challenge on the Sega Saturn. This game, before I got this game, when I heard about it and I was looking it up, I was kind of under the impression that, this is another, awesome, energetic Sega 90s arcade racing game, almost similar in the vein of like Sega Rally Championship or Daytona USA, or to some extent Manx TT Superbike and Hang On GP, again to some extent with those two games, kind of like that. Is it? I guess. Did Sega make this game? Virgin Interactive published it. But yes, the game itself, it has 6 tracks instead of, just the standard 3 that, like, almost every damn racer at the time did. And, you got your F1 cars and whatnot. I've played all 6 tracks before. And, the controls, they're, for the most part, fine. I think it would definitely benefit with the arcade, the racing wheel. Though, Hang On GP would definitely benefit more. But honestly, the game itself can kind of feel, like, dull at times because the courses in this game are really long. They generally last, like, 8 to 12 minutes, which I guess is good, for the sake of the fact that there's only 6 courses. But, again, it's not the most engaging racer of its kind on the Saturn, but it's decent, I guess if you're a really big fan of the Saturn, you might want to keep your eye out for this because it's cheap. But again, it's not the best racer out there because, again, it does get a little tiring with the long-ass courses. And not all the courses are winners, but, hey, still cool to have, for sure. Always welcome to have another Saturn game. Okay, what else? Some Sony stuff, I guess. Here we have Hatsune Miku Project Diva F 2nd on the PlayStation 3. Now, I think it was in episode 6 or 7, I talked about the first Project Diva F on the PS3. That was a gift, my brother got at one point. And I thought just for the hell of it, I would kind of get this for him as a Christmas gift, because it'd be a nice thing to own, because he played like over 30 hours of the first game. He hasn't played too much of this, I don't think, but if I can say anything about this, I can't get into this game or really much music rhythm games at all. I don't think there's as many things unlocked from the start compared to the first game, but it's cool to have, it was a recent release too. This came out in March of 2014, at least in Japan. And, hey, it's great to have another PS3 game, another PS3 exclusive. This might have been on the Vita though, I think. But, hey, if anything, I appreciate it for its, backgrounds and just the care put into the game, even though I can't get into it, really. Here's another one. Here we have Heavenly Sword, also on the PS3. This was a game I was kind of curious about, but, wasn't not really in any rush to get, but hey, one thing led to another, and I guess I got this game, sooner than I expected. I've played it once so far, and, it's a hack and slash, you gotta, just take down hordes of enemies and whatnot. I was kind of put off by, like, how early on there's this one level where you play as this, girl in the treetops, and you have to arrow down, or you're in a tree, and you're, like, shooting arrows at, like, people, at intruders or something. Wasn't too big of a fan of that. I'm not sure how much more I can get into this game, but I'll definitely play it some more, though going all the way and beating it, who knows, but we'll see. Definitely a cool thing to have, another exclusive early on title in the PlayStation 3's lifespan, so, that's noteworthy. Let's see. We have another Christmas gift. This is a Sylphy, The Lost Planet, on the PlayStation 2. Yes, this is noteworthy for being my first Working Designs games, because, hey, we know Working Designs made various, or published various games on the Sega CD, the Saturn, the PlayStation 1, probably also the TurboGrafx CD. And this is, I believe, one of 3 games they published on the PS2. And yes, this is, of course, the sequel to Sylphy on the Sega CD. Now, yes, and now if you know that game, this was a shooter, and this game was made by Treasure, so, that's pretty cool. How's the game itself? Well, I've played a decent amount of it, as much as I can, and it seems to be, another winner of a shooter. It seems to be very fun, you select your different weapon types, kind of like the original, and, well, I haven't gone past the second stage yet, but the second stage seems to be pretty goddamn long. But in any case, again, a great thing to have, this was a early title for the PS2. This came out in 2000. I don't know how much more else I can say about it other than it's a really good, competent shooter. But, hopefully I can say a little more about it in a PlayStation 2 retrospective, hopefully. I don't know. Here we have Tokyo Extreme Racer 3, also on the PS2. Now, I kind of got this game, on the inspiration or the influence or whatever, basically from my friend Fabio, because, well, he fucking loves this game. He's played, the shit out of it before, so many hours and stuff, and, I remember, like, all those times where he was saying, hey, when are you going to get Tokyo Extreme Racer 3? And it's like, eventually, soon. And, well, here it is. Now, I probably would have got this even without, his sort of influence, because I kind of like the idea of this game and this series overall, and, just games like this where you're, driving around at nighttime, and, of course, this is a simulation racer, so, you got all kinds of things to do, buy cars, tune up parts for race, rivals and stuff to win more things and whatnot. I haven't really gotten into the game that much. I think all I've ever really done are just some basic free runs and, enjoying, well, the landscape and stuff, the graphics, just enjoying a nice simple-ass ride. You change your gears and whatnot, see all the buildings and apartments and, the bridges and whatnot. It's just, that's one thing that I find really fascinating about this game is essentially that. As for getting into it deeply, I don't know. Like, certainly not as much as, Fabio, but, whatever. It's still, of course, great thing to own, for sure. And, who knows, maybe I'll get another Tokyo Extreme Racer game at some point. The first 2 were on the Dreamcast, so, yeah, that's cool. What else do we got here? How about some, PlayStation 1 stuff? And here's the last bit of ridiculously late times of talking about games. This is Apocalypse. Yes, Apocalypse. Starring Bruce Willis, even though it's just called Apocalypse. If I can say anything about Bruce Willis, well, he's of course known for, like, Die Hard and stuff, and also he's apparently a... That was redundant. Apparently he's a tough actor to work with, I guess, so that's something. And, who knows, was it a bitch to get him to do some voice work for this game? I don't know. The game itself is a run-and-gun shooter, I was kind of... The main reason why I wanted this game and heard of it is because I was watching, Metal Jesus Rocks video on PS1 Hidden Gems, though. I think he made like 3 videos on PS1 Hidden Gems. I don't remember which one he talked about this, but I was like, holy shit, that actually looks like a really fun game. And, well, so far, yeah, it actually is a really fun game. A really fun, run and gun sort of deal for sure. You know, you shoot in like 4 directions and whatnot. You jump with like L1, or I think. All stuff like that. Again, I haven't played much of this, even though I've owned this fucking game since September. I don't know, my priorities for just gaming is just all over the place, but I'm really looking forward to revisiting this game for sure. I think it only has like 9 stages, so yeah, can be beaten for sure. Next up is Eliminator. I got this November, I think. Yeah, November. I wanted to get this because another Pete Dorr influence, because he talked about this in, you know, top 5 systems to collect for now, and he was showing like a handful of like PS1 games that he got for really cheap. I looked up some of them, and this one kind of stood out to me because I was like, is this some sort of like arena-based combat vehicle sort of thing? And it's not quite that, I guess. Maybe the 2-player mode is, but you know, you play as this like little craft robotic thing, and you know, you shoot down enemies, you move on to the next part of a level and whatnot. I don't think I've actually made it past level 1 in this game, but I've played enough of it to get kind of somewhere. I'm really looking forward to what the second player has to offer. But again, I really wish I could say more about this game, like telling you if it's a really well-balanced or well-made game. But, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting game for sure. Like, it's definitely not, you know, like shovelware shit, like, or anything like that, so I guess that's commendable. And, you know, hey, it's made by Psygnosis, so that's another thing that might draw people to this game. But, you know, hey, for $10, I'm gonna get some more out of it, for sure. Let's see here. And the last game I'll talk about for this video is Peak Performance, also on the PS1. Now, I wanted to get this because Alpha Omegason made a video on this 4 years ago, back in March of, it was either March or February of 2014. He talked about it in a pickups video, and then he did a let's play of it. And I was like, you know what, this actually looks really cool, you know, like, and this is I believe part of this series of racing games called like Touge, you know, Touge King of the Spirits or Touge Max. It's that sort of like, you know, mountain racing series by Cave. You know, because, hey, Cave, they're known for making shooters, and, hey, they also made random-ass 32-bit racers like this, and, you know, High Velocity on the Saturn, Steep Slope Sliders also on the Saturn, and, of course, they made Trickin' Snowboarder on PS1. So, you know, Cave, they made some shooters and some cool 32-bit racers. But when I saw that video back in 2014, I actually then, you know, had a reason to kind of look out for this game. But, you know, with the fact that it was published by Atlas, I was like, okay, this is probably going to be a hard game to find. I remember it being kind of easy, or not easy, but kind of okay to find back then, 4 years ago. But I actually got a pretty good deal on this. I saw this for like $3. Granted, the shipping was $12, but fuck it, it was $15. That's a really good price overall, because this game goes for like $50. But yeah, I never got it back in 2014. I'm not sure why, especially considering back then I was extremely desperate for more PlayStation 1 games. But in any case, it's great to finally have, and it's a cool racer, you know? You just ride around on the mountains, the countryside, and whatnot, you know? You pick, you know, like daytime, sunset, or night for your races, you know? Pick different cars and whatnot. The interesting thing is the back of the box shows that there's like 2 more courses, so it's not just another one of those, oh my god, only 3 courses racers, though it still suffers like a lot of racers of the time for having so little fucking content. But in any case, I'm still great to have. I'm still very grateful to, you know, finally have this, and I think out of these 3 PS1 games, I kind of want to play this the most, actually, so yeah, that's cool.